read something from Francis Donald's material, which he's very productive, and he has given us a real foundation here. I can't read too much, but I think BL, you can tell us, or that we can find that on the Moria Federation website. Francis's work. Yeah.
It's under the Esoteric Astrology tab of the external Moira Federation, moirafederation.com. I put the link in the chat box.
Fantastic. Okay, excellent, excellent. So, we're certainly trying to give you a lot of material that you can use to edify yourself, to build yourself up, to build up your knowledge and wisdom. And, one of the reasons here is that it's so important during the next 7 years for us to assimilate and apply everything we can, within reason, of course. There are within reason. Because the Tibetan will determine how much he can give us in the third installment on the basis of what use we have made of what he's already given, okay? So we really have a responsibility here to assimilate and to spread the word, the good news, I might say, of the ageless wisdom to whomever we can reach. And I trust that all of us will apply ourselves to that particular task. Here you see the Jafra paintings, and I always like to refer to them. There are a number of different mantrams that are associated with Leo. The I am mantram is associated with the personality, which is a rather insulated, isolated, separative personality for some Leo people in the beginning. They reach that stage. It's all happening in the fifth petal of the egoic lotus, okay? Then you have the I am that mantram, where a person begins to realize that indeed he has a higher self, and he begins to identify with that higher self and realizes at least there is a duality there. And he is more the higher self than he is the lower self. And he begins to realize, and he can say, I am that. But then the one we usually work with is I am that, and that am I, or that I am. I am that, and that am I. And this has to do with the realization of the great unity, the great monad, the one being that all of us really are. As we begin to identify as the monad under the influence of Uranus, we realize there is only one monad in all of cosmos, and we apparently have distinct monads, but all of that is part of the general tendency of the mind towards separation. We are all an extension of the one being, the one monad, and we isolate that being, and we begin to realize that whatever we thought we were, oh, I'm a personality, I'm a soul, whatever, basically we are that one being. I am that, and that am I. And there's another mantra there, I am that I am. I am that I am, It's a little bit more poetic in a way, and a little more mysterious, and it's what God says when Moses is asking, well, who are you? What is your name? And we're all of us, Moses on the mountain, we are asking God, and it turns out that God and we are the same thing. Now in Leo, we can really realize that under the influence, especially of Neptune, where the heart of the sun opens and we become more and more the loving soul, and Uranus, where the whole head center and the sun in the middle of the head, we might say, really begins to open. The 12-petaled lotus in the head really begins to open. So in Uranus, we contact the monad, we contact the spirit, we contact electric fire. It's a very powerful sign, and we're dealing with a time in history where there's a lot of people out there who are living in an egotistical manner, and they are powerful. They just haven't gone through the big crash. You know, in the tarot, there is this thing called the blasted tower. The tower is falling, and you're falling out of the tower, and that tower is the tower of egotism, and it's going to break. It's going to crash. But there's a lot of people who are still very sold on their lower self. And because they cause trouble in the world and a lot of separation and difficulty. But people like ourselves who are trying to be disciples, you know, we're all aspirants, we're trying to be disciples, we have a higher sense of our own identity and begin to identify with the higher of the pairs of opposites. And that is such a task. And we have to, once we can do it ourselves, we have to teach people how they might be able to do it. You know, over here with the Jafra, here's the raging lion. You know, it is very, very powerful. King of beasts. I don't know if you've ever been in line with a lion when the lion has roared. Oh boy, I had such an experience. I always used to like to go to the lion house when I was a kid, and it was in the zoo, you know, and somehow I was always attracted to lions and crocodiles. Later, I only realized, hopefully, I was dealing with solar angels and Makara. But anyway, this roar of the lion can send shudders through you. It is so absolutely powerful. I was lined up with this lion, and the only thing between what I call myself and that lion was kind of a sheet of reinforced plastic. It was, maybe it was glass, I don't know. And I just thought, well, that particular beast could make short work of a human being if it was released. And here's Hercules, who is all of us, wrestling down here with our own bestial nature. The lion has to die, and the initiate within the human being has to blind the lion, the two eyes of the lion, and see with the one eye. It's the old story, as the Tibetan relates it, of the drama between the lion and the unicorn. Now, all of us are trying to become that unicorn, you know, the spiral horn, you know, growing out of the kind of brow center there, where it's the ajna or brow center, you know, it's one of those. And we are trying to become the initiate, what's called white and one-pointed. And there is a great power in this initiate to handle the bestial nature that is in all of us. We all, you know, the throne of the kingdom sits upon the claws of the lion or some other beast. You know, so when you look at the very bottom of things, you've got very, very powerful animals, and maybe there are no more first-ray animals such as certain dinosaurs and things like that, but we still have lots of remnants of a huge, mighty, animalistic past. And we have to wrestle with that and not let the lion out of the cave, you know, the cave in which we are wrestling with our own pride and our hydra and our egotism and all those different things has two entrances. And somehow the lion, it says, the Alice Bailey book, The Labors of Hercules, and the Tibetan wrote the stories there for a while, at least up to Libra. That lion is always getting out the back door. So Hercules stops the back door, and then or the back of the entrance of the cave, and then he is able to confront the lion directly, wrestle with the lion, and in a way put the beast to death, and then, you know, become the true initiate. We all of us, you know, have to flourish under Leo. It's a fantastic sign. And he says that heights of great service, noted service, are realized in Leo. So even though it has a reputation for pride and separativeness and cruelty and all that we find in the mental heads of the Hydra and other heads of the Hydra, Leo just indulges in that until the higher of the pairs of opposites is really coming in. It's a magnificent sign, and it finally gives such a tremendous humility. You know, we become the relinquished point. We give up our sense of ego altogether, and we become the wholeness, the unity. We isolate the unity, which is what the master can do, the fifth degree initiate. So Jaffa hasn't gotten all of that into his wonderful illustration here, but the idea is that we have to become like the sunflower. I think this is Apollo, and I think he's playing his seven-stringed sort of harp, and it's related to the seven rays out of which all things are made in our solar system. So there are some very good symbols here that can remind us. Now, basically what I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to show you Francis's illustrations. There's not really time right now to go into the description of them, okay? But they're wonderful, and like BL says, you can go to our Moria Federation website, and you can find them under the astrology section, and you can study what Francis has said, which is very good, and he brings in the geometrical aspects and all kinds of things. You know, here, you know, here's his text, and I say we don't really have time to deal with that right now. It's lengthy, and it's good. And here is the, but I've just got to show you these wonderful, wonderful illustrations. You know, the first one is having to do with the Christ, and the Christ is in the center of his initiates, and somehow every one of them is related to him in such a way that he represents the higher self, and he's stimulating the higher self in all. It's the Christ nature. It's the I am that nature. His position is as head of the spiritual hierarchy, which is a great heart center. And we all know that when it comes to the rulership of parts of the body by the different zodiacal signs, it's the heart and the back, which Leo is ruling. So if we want to advance in this second ray solar system, we have to build upon the intelligence which was foundational to the system and to our planet, and really open the heart and develop the Christ-like heart and the mind that is in Christ. And we have to unfold our 12-petaled nature. Now, there's always going to be 12 petals somewhere. It's so interesting. Your heart center has 12 petals. You know, it's like a miniature zodiac, okay? The heart and the head, excuse me, has 12 petals. And then there's going to be a higher correspondence on the astral plane as well, each with 12 petals. Then you're going to go to your egoic lotus, which, if you count the synthesis petals, it's got 12. And then even to the monad, which is the completing of the cycle, and the very highest center in our nature, that monadic vehicle, is 12-fold as well. At least I've gathered that from esoteric healing when it talks about the still higher 12. So we're all really being stimulated in the heart by the great Lord, who is leading us into the hierarchy gradually through the system of initiation. And when you look at it, the star, the Logos, who is the sponsor of initiation on our planet and in our solar system, is also called the Cosmic Christ. There are many Cosmic Christs, I suspect, but there's something about the star Sirius and that system with its sixth ray, second ray monad, even though it has a fifth ray soul, but I'm quite convinced, you know, sixth ray, second ray monad, which really brings in the Christ force. And not just the monastic force, which it was doing before, and from which we benefited, but now the Christ force is flowing in. So at this time of the Sirius full moon, we have to remember that it represents the cosmic Christ, and that our great solar Logos is a God of love, a God of living fire of love. And we want to extract from the available Syrian influence the love potential, which will relate us directly to the hierarchy. You know, the people who veer off on the path of form, they don't have developed in themselves that love. They're still cultivating intelligence from a previous solar system. So Sirius is both intense mind, fifth ray, and love, second ray, sixth ray, and that's how the solar angels are too. And the solar angels are trained on Sirius. So I'm just going to say that if you want to really come in touch with your solar angel, your angel of the presence, as it were, this is really the time to do it at this particular full moon, because those great hearts of fiery love, that's one of their names out of maybe 50 names, those hearts of fiery love really are responding to the Leo energy and also to the Capricorn energy. Very interesting. We've got our lion and our unicorn there once again. So as I say, Francis has written some wonderful things about this, and I'm just directing you to our esoteric astrology section on the Moria Federation website. Usually I have time to read a little more, you know, of what he said, but this time I don't actually. Things are pretty pressureful here at the moment, and I just have to follow through on the next few days of the class, and I hope that you're able to join us. Well, look, this is a very interesting one. This is called The Burning Ground, and it's the 2012 illustration, and there's the Sphinx in back of it all, and there is a kind of a Hierophant. It's even, well, Sekhmet. You know, Sekhmet is a female deity with a huge Leonian rage if the law is not properly respected. You know, here's Epsilon, as Francis has pointed out, and the Epsilon is the fifth letter of our alphabet, therefore associated with the letter with the E, the fifth letter. And interestingly enough, A, B, C, D, E, it has to do with the fifth ray. And when you look at the musical scale, the letter E is also strongly connected with the fifth ray. So, you know, there's all kinds of indicators here. Here is our candidate, and he's being observed by the eye, which comes from the initiator. The heart is very, very strong, and he, as you see, he has to pass the burning ground. Well, it's quite literally, you know, the people who are involved in fire walking are kind of warming up to the task, we might say. I'm not necessarily recommending it. Some people go through unscathed and other people do burn themselves, but we all have to pass the burning ground where our dross is burnt away. Now, in order to be a true candidate for initiation, we undergo fiery pain. Fiery pain, that is the Leo quality on the fixed cross. So Taurus, blinding light; Leo, fiery pain; Scorpio, bitter woe; and Aquarius, liberation. Okay, but here we are. I don't know what initiation this may be, but it could be the first, could be the second, could be the third. By the time we reach the fourth initiation, we are pretty well in line to have the Leonian causal body destroyed by scorpionic and plutonic forces. So as we walk across this burning ground, we begin to see the soul. We begin to feel the love of the soul at the second degree. We begin to somehow identify as the soul and enter the causal body and egoic lotus at the third degree, enter at will, and by the time the fourth initiation is taken, we're giving up the Temple of Solomon. which is also ruled by Leo. I mean, when you look at Master Moria, he's got a huge Aries and Leo configuration in his horoscope. So he was the former King Solar Man, King Solomon, as Manly Hall used to describe it. By the time we reach the 5th initiation, and this is not that, we're into the number 5, and we're into mastership, and Leo has a great rulership over that as well. So we have to learn what level of self we are responding to. And, that sense of self is always growing, becoming more unified, becoming less egotistical, becoming more and more decentralized, until finally we become the relinquished point, and all shred of egotism is banished from us, and we have a much wider and greater identity. But we do have to meet this initiator, and we do have to go through the fiery pain of the burning ground, and basically what that does is it's cleaning away the dross, which is part of all of us, and which prevents us from vibrating to the same measure, the same key, the same frequency as what is behind the door of initiation. So this is a very great and solemn kind of illustration, and we're all either doing it or have done it, or we'll do it again. So we have to be prepared for that kind of fiery pain, which is inescapable as we begin to do this. So as I say, Francis has many wonderful quotes and his own take on it and his own geometry and all that. And I just suggest that you go to the Moria Federation website and study during this time what he says there. I'm giving you some of the highlights of it as I see it, but he has said more than I have time to deal with. And if I can possibly do it in the middle of a class, a mystery school class of all things, because, the mysteries are all about initiation, and I might not have time to do the solar fire ritual meditation, but I'll try. We'll see what is possible. Okay. So do go there and study what Francis has said, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. Okay, let's see. Oh, something has happened, huh? We are not seeing, I should have seen this, I don't know. I thought I was quite okay, but I didn't press the right button, and I just had no idea. But, I've emerged out of the darkness as a living, rather limited, concrete being, and so I'm glad that has happened. We deal with form a lot more easily than we deal with absolute darkness. The absolute, okay. All right, here we go. Now I just have to find the meditation, which I think I have here somewhere. I hope so. And text clears, here it is. Okay, good. Excuse me. I'm quite, excited by what has been going on in the mystery school class as we have been exploring these fascinating subjects. So maybe I might calm down just a little bit here. Let's just see if it's possible. And we'll have our meditation, and then tomorrow night, join us if you're not doing other things with your own meditation group and whatever. Join us at 7 o'clock p.m. GMT, and the link is in the chat box, okay. And then it'll be about an hour and 20 minutes or so before we get to the actual full moon at 8, 20, and 15 seconds, and then, so forth. All right. Well, I trust we have been aligning these days and have begun to feel the movement of the self within us. Now, what level of the self? That's the question. we're in that period of dedication where we're dedicating the mind to the whole pursuit. And tomorrow, especially 12 hours before the full moon, will be the receiving and holding period. And then it will be up to us to distribute whatever radiation we have contacted. Sometimes it just means to be the soul, if you know what I mean. Be the soul, and be the soul you are. Identify as the soul you are, and radiate that soul, and that is a really big service. You know, it's basically more what we are than what we do. So that's very much found in Leo, you know, very much. Okay. All right, I'm ready to go. So let's have a little silence for the whole group. And the energy gathers in the silence, and some sense of the synthesis of the group, at least the unity wherever we may be in time and space, that unity leading to a synthesis, it begins to dawn upon us. So basically, one way of identifying ourselves is as the soul in incarnation. We're kind of a projection of that consciousness on the higher mental plane, but we're projected down into the lower personality spheres, and we want to begin to withdraw our sense of self and our sense of consciousness at this time from the personality spheres. So we pull back. Pratyahara abstraction, it's called. And you know, the old Raja Yoga system. I have a body, but I'm not that body. I have feelings and desires, but I have them, and I am something else. And I have many, many thoughts and cogitations and workings of the mind, but I'm not all of that. So I'm more the observer, you know. At first, I learn how to enter the higher mental plane and the soul sphere, and I observe the personality from that position. Sometimes if you put it interiorly, visually, at a great distance, it's easier to do. But it's possible to withdraw even more, at least theoretically, you know, until we reach the realm of the spirit, out of which all of our lesser aspects went forth, emanated, and we really realize then we are the observer of our whole lower world of extensions. And we really at least begin to get the sense that we are in the soul world on the higher mental plane. At the very least, we should start to get that. And that the soul somehow is not just my soul and thy soul, but it's a group soul. It includes the men and women of goodwill in their soul nature. And it includes the new group of world servers who are a little more committed than the average man or woman of goodwill. But really, finally, it includes all of humanity as souls. There's only one soul of humanity. And we somehow imagine just the millions and even billions of people. We could take in the other kingdoms of nature as well, of course, but let's just deal with people. Leo, the most human of all the signs, as he says. And there's no, think of it, there's no my soul and thy soul. When we can do that, we're on the way to isolated unity, you know. Maybe in earnest, we, begins at the third initiation, then culminates at the fifth. But when we start to get that sense of no my soul and thy soul, there's only the soul, the one consciousness, then you can actually say that great second ray mantra, naught is but me. Naught is but me. I'm kind of looking for something here, and I just may find it. I want to keep the music angle on the right pitch, so to speak. So naught is but me, and that we say that about all of humanity. Naught is but me, and when we can start to look beyond and through the obvious person, we begin to find something that we share in common, and we begin finally to find something that we are in common. That's a big step, and it's one of the later phases of Leo. Now, when we build imaginatively our Antakarana, our rainbow bridge, which we can do as we have the second initiation, at least in sight. It must, it might be several lives before we pass through that degree, but when you're approaching that condition of more emotional control and purified, deglamorized astral body, we can begin to think about this Antakarana. And, we all have it, or can build it. On the mental plane, there's such a thing called the mental unit, and just to see if I can get there, this mental unit is the area around which your projection is going to be made, your alignment with your higher nature. So let's imagine, first of all, that there is some kind of link between the intuition and the astral plane. Because the intuition has to form what's going on the astral plane. It's like a bridge that we can imagine. It's got all the colors, but maybe two colors stand out more prominently for each of us: the color of our soul and the personality. If you're not sure, just use the indigo color. It's the basic soul color of the second ray, but red first ray, indigo second ray, green third ray, yellow fourth ray, orange fifth ray, rose or light blue for the sixth ray, and violet for the seventh ray. So there's this kind of bridge. Francis has drawn a beautiful rainbow bridge in one of his illustrations. It's got all these colors, but maybe two are more prominent. So just think for a moment of what is your soul ray and what is your personality ray. At least, as far as you can understand. One day we'll be certain of it. Right now we speculate. And what we start to do is we gather some energies. We go into the egoic lotus here, and see if there it is. We go into the egoic lotus, and we imagine we're pulling in to an area around the mental unit, pulling in the energies of these petals, even if not all of them is completely unfolded yet. Lots of soul knowledge, soul love, and soul sacrifice. We pull that into the area of retained energies around our mental unit. And finally, even we imagine at least that we go into the jewel. It's not unfolded for us. We'd be fourth degree initiates if we could really see the full jewel, but we imagine we pull in that will energy and the energy of the seven rays, and there they are as a pool of energy around the center of our lower mind, the mental unit. And then this big stream that includes the astral plane, and it runs right through our group of retained energies and goes up into the triadal realms, at least imaginatively. We know that we can't really do that because there are aspects of the triad that are even beyond the master. But anyway, as if it goes from the lower parts of ourselves in all the colors and through the group of energies around the mental unit and all the way up to the monad, as if. But since we're working as a group, we're going to use the word of power for the second ray. The indigo, we're going to imagine that our rainbow bridge, our group rainbow bridge, whatever our soul ray may be, is colored by indigo, primarily. And we're going to use the mantram, the word of power of the second ray, internally 3 times, as outwardly on the second ray note, a second ray note, we sound the Om, and seeing connection from the highest to the lowest. We say, I see the greatest light internally. That's the word of power. I see the greatest light. We project that beam of light right through our indigo bridge and through all the different colors, linking the highest in us with the lowest. I see the greatest light. As outwardly, meditatively, we sound the Om. We're visualizing together. Really, it's an alignment, as DK shows us in Meditation 3 in the Dynabook. He says, from the monad to the base of the spine. It's a huge alignment. But the main part, of course, is to go across the bridge that we're building to connect with the consciousness that we're mostly not aware of unless we're building the Antakarana. We may have some personality and soul consciousness, but what about the triad? What about the monad? I see the greatest light. Now, we realize that we are, in a way, friends with the great elder brothers, and we're their servers. We try to help. And so we offer our solidarity in our work with them. We have at least imaginatively penetrated into their world a little. Their world is the world of the triad, via the completed Rainbow Bridge. And so we'll offer our solidarity, our salutations. And, this is not my idea. This is from some meditations that DK offered to his group. So let's just realize there is a hierarchy. Graduate human beings filled with the Buddhic energy and the energy of spiritual will, who are committed because of the bodhisattvic impulse to help the humanity from which they emerged, and meanwhile also help other kingdoms in the planet. These are real beings. They are real. And more we want to be assured of their reality instead of just using their names and saying, oh yeah, the Chohan of this ray and that ray. It's tuning in with the reality of these beings. So first, we offer our gratitude to the entire hierarchy. And we begin. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. and the teacher alike of angels and of men. Om. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Master Moria, Master Kutumi, Master Jwal Kul. And we'll do this step by step. Om. Salutations to the Master Moria, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Om. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, whose second ray ashram is mainly responsible for preparing for the reappearance of the Christ, the Lord Maitreya, the great teacher, Kutumi, the Bodhisattva of the coming age of Capricorn. Salutations. Om. Salutations to the Master Jwal Kul, who is so responsible for the training of aspirants towards initiation, the first, second, and even the third initiation, and of course, the messenger of the hierarchy at this time, who has given us so much of the secret doctrine and theosophical work and the Bailey work. Salutations. Om. Salutations to your own master, as you know him to be or conceive him to be. Om. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet, with the ashrams on the Atmic, Buddhic, and highest monastic subplane. We really want to cooperate at this difficult time of human transition, and we want to know the best way to do so. So we lift our consciousness, imaginatively anyway, towards Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. center of purpose, the center of will, and reverently, very reverently, and in all humility and as a group soul, we attempt to attune to the presence of Sanat Kumara, the King, the Lord of the world, the youth of endless summers, his many wonderful names, the Lord of Venusian love. We attune with his presence, bringing forth planetary purpose. And it is our responsibility more and more to learn what the will is and how to respond to this will emanating from Shambhala. That we sound internally, silently, long Om, internally, silently, as we imagine the group and other meditating groups imbued with his energy. It is the subtlest energy, love eternal, light supernal, peaceful, silent will. You hardly know that you've been affected by it, and then huge changes begin to occur. So let's, the Leo is a first ray sign, also a fifth ray sign. And Sirius has this huge effect on our solar system. Let's find a way to learn what is the will of our solar logos, of the cosmic Christ, of the greater beings in whom we live and move and have our being. To become purposeful disciples. And it's not just that we talk about the will or make some parody of it as we act in a determined manner, but we really begin to understand more and more what is this divine will. Now, let's imagine that we pull ourselves all together at a point. Everything we are, we're just occupying one point. Time and space don't make any difference right now. All of our qualities are there, compressed into what we call a point. And before us stands the indigo sun, which is a great symbol of the second ray and of the blue logos, and the golden pathway into the indigo sun, and a sun in which we desire to live and whose energy we desire to express. We'll find as it were, the consciousness of the Master DK waiting for us, at least imaginatively, within the sun, that sun. And as the golden pathway slowly becomes shorter and shorter, as it were, being absorbed into this indigo sun, we together at a point ride with it, so to speak, and we hover above the pathway, and we all then get the feeling as the golden pathway disappears that we are absorbed into the indigo sun. And just imagine that. And within this state of indigo, we are becoming like outposts of Master DK's consciousness, because he knows so much about the planets and the rays and the astrological factors and the creative hierarchies and all those energies. And we begin to absorb that. So the sun is really the triple ruler of Leo. If we want to think in planetary terms, the sun is not really a planet, but in astrology is sometimes considered that, and the sun is veiling some planets we want to think about. DK hints that the planet is, the sun is veiling Jupiter for the ordinary orthodox expression. It's veiling Neptune, related to the heart of the sun. It's veiling Uranus, connected with the central spiritual sun. So there's many levels here that we can ponder upon, because we need all of them. We need the glorification of the personality one day. We need the energy of the heart of the sun, especially coming in at the second initiation and beyond. And then that central spiritual sun, which is our true monad, really. All that we have to meet. So we ponder on the power of the sun. We're looking at the body of a great God. Sometimes we say, oh, the sun's up, the sun's rising, the sun is setting, but it represents an immense being. In whom, as monads, we live and move and have our being. The monad finds its home or its place within the sun, we're told. So the personal self is a kind of microcosmic sun. The soul self, a still more radiant sun. And finally, the monad considered as a sun, the spirit. For us, the maximally radiant center. And we are all of those glorious possibilities, trying to emphasize the higher ones. So life, consciousness, will, vitality, consciousness, and will within our entire solar system, it all comes from the sun. So first of all, we just kind of ponder that and realize, inwardly look at the sun and realize you have a kind of home, a spirit home within the sun, within the solar logos. and that it, just as it does for the plant world, man is a sevenfold plant. It encourages the growth, as long as there's adequate water, of course, and the fulfillment under Jupiter. We're looking for the fulfilled personality and the fulfilled causal body, egoic lotus. Jupiter does a lot of that. We're going to grow. At this time, we're going to grow more and more into the likeness of the sun, radiant beings who are not hiding our light under a bushel. We shine. We're starting to. And then there's the heart of the sun, the home of the solar flames, Neptune, the home of the solar flames veiled by the sun. You can put Neptune in your heart center. You can put Neptune in the center above your head. The fire of love will be burning through Neptune. It's not just a watery experience. There's purification by water and purification by fire. And Neptune has some of that fiery element associated with Buddhic love. We try to absorb that in our groups. The heart of the sun, the astral body that can express love, the beginning of identification as the second degree is coming along. The fire of the heart of the sun. Just dwell on that and see if it can be part of your Leo experience. And this is really solar fire. Solar flame, solar fire. And it's your means through love of rising. Solar fire, Buddhic fire, monadic fire. Finally, the fire of the cosmic astral plane, to which Neptune is related. A great warmth of loving energy from the heart of the sun at this time. And then the central spiritual sun within us. The sun is veiling Uranus, the home of electric fire. Usually Leo is associated with solar fire, but it has its higher first ray aspect hierarchically ruled by Uranus, which it veils. The will of the oneself. What is your will? Is it different from the higher will? Or since you are the higher self, is your will at one with the will of that higher self. What is that highest will within us? And think of what it would be like if we could fulfill the archetypes which Uranus rules as found on the monadic and logoic planes. What if we could live the archetypal life that are found in the central spiritual sun? So let's release all of these potentials into our individual microcosm and into our groups and into humanity, and imagine them flowing in, touching those who can be helped, whether it's to fulfill the growth and radiance of the personality, whether to fulfill the heart of the sun and the soul, whether to fulfill the spirit within us, different people responding to different streams of energy. Let's imagine the sun, that great heart of solar love, that great heart center, the consuming fire of love, working through 3 planets. Let's imagine all of that released into our lives, into our groups, into humanity. Let's sound the Om 3 times, imagining. This is the time when we should be thinking about our great solar logos and the superior solar logos of Sirius, who is a sacred solar logos, whereas ours is not quite yet in cosmic terms. This great burning, scorching, fiery burning ground energy, burning away the dross, purifying, so that we begin to know what our true identity is and can express it as units of love, wisdom in our solar system. We're all of us solar, whatever our rays may be at the moment. We're expressions of the blue logos. We carry the energy of the true self and help others see truer and truer expressions of the self. We carry the light of the soul. This is the light that is connected with Leo. And really, the light of the monad too. So if ever as a group we could tune in on the dog star with its ultimate, I think, second ray monad and sub sixth ray monad and its fifth ray soul and its general powerful cosmic Christ energy, a great stream of initiatory energy is coming towards Earth at this time and into all our lives, taking advantage of that, absorbing that, purifying, burning away, leaving the impurities behind, using solar fire particularly, and for those of us who can do a little, electric fire, a time of great opportunity. And for the next few days, let's hold that sense of the fire, solar fire, the light of the soul, a reflected point of light, logoic or divine. And this dark light of Cancer reveals eventually that point. And that point is relinquished eventually. It looks like it's a great, magnificent constellation if you look up. It's got some powerful stars, the heart of the lion, Regulus, and the nebula, the most human of all the signs, it's called. So let's try to live the higher Leo. At least I am that. And if we can fathom it, I am that and that I am. So some of us can visualize that constellation. Let's have some moments of silence as we think of the mantra associated with the full moon of Leo. And here we have this big eclipse, this blood moon, this hopefully this compromising of the lunar nature. Eventually that moon will fade out, we're told. I am that, and that I am. We ponder the meaning. I am that, and that I am, and we'll carry that, over the next number of days. I am that, and that I am. I am that, and that I am, and that is everywhere. Everywhere. Everywhere without exception. Whether you like what you see or you don't like what you see, it's not about liking and disliking. It's about the beingness of that. And this synthesis begins to enter our consciousness. And we practice, no matter what we see, we stay with it until it is absorbed into the that which we are. And everything is included. And so until we have developed the ability to include all things in the unity which we have isolated in isolated unity, we have not really understood I am that and that I am. So nothing is left out, all is included, and it's all the one self, regardless of how the forms may seem to be differentiated. We're on our way to understanding the isolated unity of eventual mastership. I am that and that I am. And then we can overcome the great heresy of separation. We can do this in Leo. So it's as if we start from the one about whom not may be said. Let's consider it the entire externalized constellation of the Pleiades, 1,000 stars maybe, the head center of the one about whom not may be said, and the 7 Pleiades, the jewel box, and Leo as one of the petals in the heart, in the head of the one about whom naught may be said. So a very high center, because your major center is this 12-petaled lotus right there in the foundation of your 1,000-petaled lotus. So the zodiac is that, we're told. And out into the world, Leo has many connections with the little bear and with the great bear. Maybe also with Orion, because Orion is considered by some to be a great heart center in the one about whom naught may be said. And then maybe our particular cosmic logos is the solar plexus, and we always see that lion with the solar plexus radiating until we reach our own little solar system, which is very connected with the constellation Leo for cosmic reasons. It's a heart, and Leo is a kind of a heart. And out into the veiled planets of possibly Jupiter and definitely Neptune, definitely Uranus. The energy flows. It flows to Earth, to Shambhala, into the monad as the king. The monad is the king. Leo is the king. Into the crown, the jewel in the crown of the planetary logos. The king is crowned. And into the soul and the sunflower-like solar angels, and into our personality and our etheric system, into the heart and the head center, into the heart center, maybe touching the solar plexus and up again. The great energy flows from the one about whom naught may be said, via Leo, all the way into our little microcosm. So let's just feel that Leo is present. According to the nature of our form, so we will use it wisely or not. And every month we can build into our causal body some of the energy of the constellation most available. And maybe you would build this into the entire egoic lotus, which is very Leonian structure, and into the fifth petal, which is the Leo petal. We are absorbing Leo energies. They are everywhere present now on our planet because we're oriented that way particularly. Maybe other planets, have different seasons and different relationships, but we're oriented towards now the constellation and the sign Leo, which is present, and maybe something of what it means to be crowned with the unfoldment of the head center is going to dawn upon us. And here we are on Earth, and we know that Leo is the most human of all the signs, and egotism is causing a lot of trouble. Where would we send the right kind of Leo energy that reminds people that they really are a soul? Where would we send that? Everybody find a place where you would like to send this energy. Of course, to the whole earth, yes, but maybe there's a specific place or situation. where you would like to send this energy. Helping humanity get beyond the strictly personality phase into the sense that I am that, the higher of the pairs of opposites, at least that much. I have a higher self. I am a higher self. I have a heart. The heart and soul are the same in a way, the Tibetan tells us. And I can go through life with my heart center a lot more open, protecting from obsession and the darkness and the form obsession. The heart will protect. So let's send our energy towards the place on 3 ohms, seeing it do some good. Finally, we want to be who we are and what we are. And we don't want to suffer from mistaken identity. We've got to know what the self really is. Finally, it's infinite, of course, but along the way to that realization, it's a greater and greater thing. And that's how we want to learn to identify. I am that, and that I am. Now, we'll close with a great invocation. And Tuya and I invite you, if you haven't got other commitments, to join us. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. GMT as we work towards the full moon at 8:20 and 15 seconds GMT. It's an important time, and just, try to be yourself during this time and question as you go through your daily life, what self am I living right now? What self? Try to live the higher one. Here we go. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Okay, friends, we're just starting, and maybe you've been working for a few days to tune up and get ready, and tomorrow night is the main event as far as the planet is concerned, with that major lengthy eclipse. And maybe, there's something about eclipsing the lunar nature within our selves and the animal nature and so forth, and something else take its place. These challenging times, so do be present at least a full moon exact time meditation. Then you're most welcome to join Tuya and me if you like, or if you have your own, just be there at the time of the exact full moon. Please, maybe some of you want to join us on YouTube at the Moria Federation Esoteric Education site, and the specifics are given in the chat box, which you can copy, just copy the whole thing and see later if you want to join us. We're having continuing meditations and some discussion tomorrow of the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th initiations. Obviously, those will be rather abbreviated discussions, but we'll continue, and there'll be meditations accordingly and so forth. So thank you very much for being here. I'm going to convert this recording, make it available to you. You can, if you want it really quickly, you can go to the Hightail site, and you can find it there, and I'll try to get it out to you somehow if you want to use this particular meditation. But now really it's just a warm-up for the full moon itself. So hold in your consciousness, who are you? Who am I? The ancient Vicharya method, and don't settle for a mistaken identity. Make sure you get to the roots of your own identity instead of just imagining that you are some limited being. You are that too in a way, but the deeper thing has to be revealed, the true self. I am that, and that I am. Okay, everybody, lots of love, many blessings. We'll see you before long, and next time when I do one of these things, I'll try to turn on the video. And refrain from coughing, of course. All the best, and see you soon.